What's going on? What's going on? Vibrations, what's
Hey,
going on? Matter of fact, that's what I call y'all. Vibrations. All the fans of the show, I'm gonna call y'all vibrations. All right. This is your boy Pin Game James, and now welcome to the Vibes at the Table podcast. And um, to follow us, check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook on our PVE Prevailing Vibes Entertainment pages. And we got a lovely show we're about to give y'all today. This is a returning guest. Uh, this guest wears many hats. You know what I mean? I know for some time now, and she's always doing a show, always doing a slam poetry, and now she's got into a different venture that we're about to dive into. So, without further ado, let's welcome Mrs. CoCo Weaponry. CoCo, how you doing tonight?
how are you doing, Pen? It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much. You give me too many accolades. I'm efforting to be a mega talent like you for real.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. You know what I mean? So let's jump right into it. So the first question that I want to ask you, so you got this new venture now of being a poetry coach. So why don't you spend some time talking about the details of a poetry coach?
I have been doing poetry coaching for 7.5 years now, and I'm just opening it up to more participants. It allows me to support artists, upcoming artists, as far as the literary art discipline, textbook style, and then
Mm,
implementing some of those things to them to continue to hone in their individuality and their creativity in a more imaginative way by having that element of different stressors and articulations and voice modulations, as well as stage presence, delivery, and performance.
okay, okay. It sounds very interesting. Very interesting. You
It
know what I
is.
mean? So so with that being said, with being a poetry coach, what do you enjoy about being a poetry coach? I mean, it's like since you have ventured into this new activity, what what things do you enjoy about being a poetry coach?
I enjoy seeing the students or the seminar participants elaborate and really get the point, not understanding some mythology of what poetry and spoken word is from a literary art discipline, textbook, masterclass, poetry classes, things like that. And
Mm,
these somewhat tutoring sessions allows the student or the seminar participant to take advantage to elevate the structure in speaking, to develop more detailed in writing, as well as their stage presence is
okay,
everything. So I really enjoy seeing them implementing the subject matter into their actual delivery, their writing, and their performance.
okay. Sounds wonderful. Now, I also wanted to say this too that it's really you don't really get to hear too many people sorry, not people but poets advertising poetry coaching. I mean, like I could like name on like one hand how many people I've like heard so far that like talk about it. You know what I mean? So why do you think it's not too many people like advertising poetry coaching or mentoring spoken word artists and or poets?
Because some of them, unfortunately, have not taken the courses and they just
Hmm.
have developed, which is a wonderful thing, developed by listening and to some extent mimicking other artists and then honing in on their own individuality. But what
Hmm.
happens with poetry coaching and having you know, the secular education, and I'm not big on that, It helps them to feed into their poem. It helps them to develop better as a writer, and it reinvigorates their work. That's the main thing because it helps them develop more enthusiasm, and it also helps them how to interact in delivering and having audience mechanics, really getting their audience involved in their performance, be it fact or fiction.
Okay, you know what? And I really love how you said that too, how it helps them with their stage presence. And you wouldn't think that that was important. I mean, that's important because you think all this is, you go on stage, go on some microphone, they speak your piece, but you know, performance, like how you read the poem, whether it's on paper or off of memory, that all plays a part in it. You know what I mean? And so I really do appreciate you taking the time to instruct those who may be um, newbies into this world of poetry on how to do it and how to not just like copy somebody else, but to just like find their own identity in this field.
Yes, that's what it's all about. The support is everything for young writers, mature writers, or veterans in this. Everybody can hone in and develop a new technique, a new voice structure, a new written composition. All of those things are very important because you don't want to become routine in your performances or in your writing. There's always something new to learn because I still take, secular classes here and there just to continue to touch up on where I'm
Okay.
at so that I can continue to share and support everybody. That's the best part right there, the support.
Oh, okay. Now, like, I see CoCo because I watched you so many times. I didn't think you would be taking courses on this. So I mean, like you've been doing this for so long. I mean, like I'm surprised to hear to hear you say this, but I mean, but at the same time, it just shows that just because you've been doing something for a long time doesn't mean you can't learn something new. You know what I mean? Like even like there's a Washington, like you said, he still takes at the classes. Now with
Yes.
someone like of his prestige, you wouldn't think he would be, but because because he he's such as an actor and he wants to continue to better himself, he still takes those classes. Even
Mhm.
if it's some stuff that he may already know, still to get a refresher on it is a great thing. So to hear you say that, with such humility is a good thing to hear.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm efforting to be supportive and to get the support. And sometimes that's difficult. But if you just are 100 all the time, all the way around, and keep the same energy and your vibration, as what people say, you
Right,
vibe
right.
with everybody. And that's the best part.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So my next question, and because like I said before, I've known you. You're an artist. You throw open mics and or poetry slams. So I gotta ask you this question: how do you balance being an artist, a poetry coach, and throwing open mics? It's like how do you balance all these hats that you wear?
The open mics, I rarely will do an open mic, but I will do them. It depends on who's asking, but
Okay,
all of my performances are invites.
okay.
They're invites. And I have the opportunity to pick and choose if I'll go. Uh, some shows in Kentucky. They had a couple of shows in Chicago. Of course, Ohio was my second home to Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And not they also are having an event in Utah. I'm not sure if I want to take
Mm.
that travel, but
Okay, right.
they a lot of times they'll make it worth your while. And so I try not to be so accessible when it comes to
Mm,
poetry and spoken word because I will always, and I can stand on this, not in a cocky way, I will always give a different performance. I
right.
rarely will just keep doing the same pieces over and over and over, only if they'll ask, and that'll be a part of if it's a contract, I'll put that in there, but I will always come up
Mm.
with a new piece to deliver.
Okay, you know what? That's no, that's interesting because I watch some poets and I watch them, give a poem that I've heard at least like 3 or 4 times, and sometimes that gets very like tiresome of you seeing them perform that same poem over and over again. You know what I mean? Now it's different if like someone requests it, but if it's not request, I don't think you should be doing the same poem at least like 3 or 4 times. Like for me, if I'm performing a poem that I've done before, if being asked, then yeah, I'll do it. But if it's like not a requirement, I don't feel right doing a poem that I've done before at least no more than like twice. You know what I mean? Because I just feel
Yeah,
like it's like it kind of just like it like loses its value. You know what
it
I mean?
does.
So I have to, you know what I mean? I have to like think about something new to do.
Yeah. The audience loves fresh ink. And I don't
Yes.
want to be in an arena where the person is reciting my poem as I'm reciting it. That has gotten old and stale. Those days are over. And in taking refresher courses or even entering into a process of betterment for
Mhm.
poetry, not that persons are not good poets, they are, they're excellent poets. Every uh, person that I support within the seminars are phenomenal talents. Just seeing things from a different perspective from the discipline aspect as far as the educational portion really takes it to another level. It doesn't change who they are as an artist, it just elevates their writing, it elevates their pronunciation, it
Mhm.
elevates their delivery. And that's the goal. It's not to perfect it, it's just to add and support what they already do.
I agree. I agree. And honestly, to to be someone who may be a veteran or I'm sorry, who is advanced in this field, I feel like it takes a certain amount of humility to say that you're willing to take a course or to take on a poetry coach to help you with your skills. I feel like sometimes whether it be spoken word poetry, R&B, or whatever type of performance arts that we choose, I think sometimes there's a level of arrogance that some of us have to feel like no one can't teach us anything.
Yeah,
And and like the problem with that is it's like, and I've always told this too, that if you don't think that you have a problem, then that means that you have a problem. You know
that's
what I mean?
deep.
Like I was taught that by I was taught that by someone who was much older than me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like someone who was well advanced in age. I ain't gonna say, oh, I'm gonna say well advanced in
Yeah,
age. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, like it does take that type of humility to look at yourself and see, okay, where can I get better at? You know what I mean? Because you may feel that you have it all down packed, but sometimes those same artists who say that about themselves, you look at them and then you may see a flaw or two that they have.
yeah,
And I think and I think that if those type of artists are like all of us, which is sit back and just look at ourselves like, okay, I could do better at my performance, or I could do better at how I say words,
yeah,
and my pronunciation to
yeah.
get better. But it's going to take humility on that person's part.
Definitely. It's a new way of looking at inspirations. It's a new way at developing inspiration. Sometimes as writers, we can have writer's block. But how do we get out of writer's block? What are some of the techniques from a literary art discipline view that we can implement? What are some things that if you've written older pieces that you don't feel comfortable in reciting, let's address why you don't feel comfortable reciting. Let's do a read through. And all of the seminars are interactive. You are given prompts, you are given wordplay, we're giving articulations, we're giving structures, we're giving everything. It's hands on. Either the class is in person or either virtual. They get homework and they also have class or seminar participation.
Okay, okay, and it sounds wonderful. know what I mean? And like so before that, if those who what I mean, feel like they need that, then I feel like, like you and others are that type of person to teach that, honestly.
Well, well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I've even heard some artists say, I didn't want to take the class because I thought it was like you was gonna be dogging people and stuff. I was like, it was complete opposite, right? I was like, if you
Right,
were to write a scenario as to what you learned today or what I could support you in today, would you tell somebody else? Definitely. They were floored because it's not an intimidation thing. It's not a bragging right thing. I can't teach you anything. I can only share it. If you implement it, then you've been taught something from what I've shared. It wasn't from me. I'm not the first who ever did it. You
right,
see, I'm one of the first of many who share it. And sharing is caring from where I come from, Penn.
right, right. Indeed. So my next question that I want to ask you is now, when doing your poetry coaching, or if you've thrown a event before, um, well, okay, well, I ask this. Okay, so if you're throwing a poetry event, right, what do you look for in a artist? Or if you're going to coach someone into being a poet, like, what do you look for?
To be a part of the events.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So for the viewpoint of being a part of the event,
Mm,
freshness, newness, because I'll only use a certain artist more than one time if they bring a new element or a new spin to it.
right.
I can have many shows and have the same person on the show, but each time they come, they do something different.
Gotcha.
And the audience is there for it. They actually are requesting them to come back. And when they come back, very rarely will they do the same piece. They'll do something different. So I love individuality. I love creativity. There are some artists that I have used on multiple stages that I've had the honor to share the stage with and put an event together for these artists because it's not very many places where you can go and have a clean and clear poetry spoken word event
That's
from
true. You
beginning
ain't
to
lying.
end. So
That's true.
I pride myself on that. Of course, I pride first my personal, convictions, but I pride myself on giving my audience a show that a 2-year-old and 102-year-old can sit through beginning to end.
Okay. Okay. And you know what? That's I've always like thought about that too. You know what I mean? And it's no disrespect to other platforms, but
Right.
it's like,
None
I
at
mean,
all.
but it's like it's like, when I'm watching it on YouTube or I'm going to an event, what I mean? It's like hard to, to be at an event, and it's, and it may not and it may not be like the whole poem, but I mean, sometimes you may go to the event and like you may hear like one or two curse words in a poem, and
Yeah.
like for me,
Yeah.
I just feel like it's like, as an artist, do you really have to use that? What I mean? I can't judge how like people talk, but at the same time, it's like when it comes to this art form, it's like, do you? It's like, for me, I just like for me, like I would like to like hear something I'm sorry, without the profanity. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
A
And
lot of
and
people do.
I agree, right now. And before I get to my next question, now you as an artist, do you feel or have been treated differently because you're performing poems without profanity versus the ones who may use it? Do you feel any sort of like pressure?
I unfortunately have had the experience to perform on those platforms and use profanity before I got serious about my personal convictions. So it's easy to do it. There can be some underlining pressure depending on which arena you're in. But once you develop the mindset, it's very easy to do. And that's a portion in the seminars that I offer is etymology or etymology, which is the study of words, how
Right.
to use other words to stimulate thinking for your audience. You can use pain in four different ways. You
Yes.
see, you can, some people will say, oh, you got me messed up, or,
Hmm.
whatever they use. And that's pain. You see, it can be pain emotionally, physically, mentally, or window pain. So through the window
Right.
pain, I see pain, even though the pain I have is a pain from within. Just that
Right.
quick. And people
Right.
can visualize that. But
Off
you
top. Off
slam,
top.
but you slam the window on my pain. So it's shattered glass. So there's
Right.
another form of word play that you can go into. So
Hmm.
those things are brought out of an artist. Here's
Right.
another set of terminology, another set of words you can use to drive home the point because the whole process is thinking metaphorically, methodically, being very strategic in what you say and your word placement. What are the clues? What's the story? You see your intro, your catcher, and your exit. Your introduction is what's going to catch them. And then how you build your composition, that's the catcher. And then you got to carry it through to the exit.
Right.
Those things are implemented in, Poetry 101 in session one. Phase is six phases to it, condensed from a 4-year literary. I do it in 6 phases.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, I want to ask you this question. Since you're a poetry coach and you've done events, being a poetry coach and someone who has thrown open mics before, have you had to give constructive criticism to an artist? If you have, can you relate a experience where it went positive or it went negative?
Yeah, you have to be willing to wear that hat, depending on the size of the event and the size of the audience. You'll have to wear that hat. You will. And it does go to the left very rarely because you know who you're dealing with. But
Right.
when it does go to the left, you have to nurse it. You see, and I got an LPN, so I know how to nurse it. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
you know, you gotta know how to nurse it. I love people. I know how to interact with people. I know how to bring the best out in people. But when they do not want the best brought out in them, that's when I stop and I shut
Okay.
down and then I'm
Right.
done. I'll never give a person the same type of energy that they gave me. Like at this past event that I gave in Detroit
Hmm.
this past August, we had a, a few things that, but no one would ever know because guess what? I never let them see me sweat,
Right.
because a person can clown and look like a Harley Quinn, because that's what it is. It's a first class clown, a Harley Quinn is, and they can do that on their own. I don't need to assist them or support them in any of the buffoonery that they partake in. But me as a professional and
Hmm.
a real businesswoman, I am
Right.
not about to, I got a audience of 225 people, allow one Harley Quinn to mess up 21 other performers and their performance because of what they're doing. So yeah, I'll say one or two things, have my say.
Hmm.
What are we doing as adults, and what are you doing as a child? So
Right.
and you keep it like that. You choose your words. Be very, very. I'm very constructive, very kind to everybody, and either from that point forward, depending on what the reciprocation is, either I'm gonna deal with you or I'm not, and it's no bad blood.
You know what? That's a very mature answer that you had just gave. You know what I mean? And it's like whether it's in this field of poetry or it's rap or it's R&B, you know, hearing criticism now, it like it became a very negative thing to say. You know what I mean? Like you have like even like professionals who, like, they will go off on someone who may not like their performance or who may not like their projects, and it becomes a whirlwind of emotions. But it's like, is that not what you had signed out for? You know what I mean? And I said before, and I had said before on the last podcast that with some artists, they come in and they think about the good stuff. They think about getting the praise and stuff for their work. But when someone may have a I want to say a different opinion
Mm-hmm.
about what they do, some artists they don't take it too well. They kind of
It's haughtiness.
right, you know what I mean. And it's like the artist, this is this is what you signed up for, and it was like, and like I'm saying this based on like when I was like her scene like her scene over the years that if you have this like negative like attitude,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's like problematic when you hear commentary on your projects, then it's like you will find like very few people who want to deal with you.
Yes,
Whether it's
exactly.
a music executive, someone who throws open mics, you know what I mean? It's like they don't want to deal with someone who gets highly upset at being critiqued. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
And it's
it's like this is not this is not what's that show called? I'm sorry, America's Got Talent.
yeah.
I mean, and like even with that, we seen people like go off on a tangent when someone says they gotta practice more,
Yeah.
and like I remember like seeing this one guy who could like somewhat sing, and
Hmm.
on a panel they had a famous R&B singer, and I can't remember all she said, but I remember when she was saying how like she told them that you have to have some humility in this business, and you got to put in the work. This man got highly upset, was
Mm.
saying profanity, calling her name and stuff, and it's like,
Wow.
and it's like, I go from a simple critique to going off on a tangent. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like you almost got it's like it's almost like kind of walking on eggshells almost.
Yeah. And that's the sad part because you have to always remember and keep this mindset. I'm not the first who ever did it, and I'm not the last. But I'm going to
Exactly right.
support what I'm going to support.
Mhm.
And you hone in on your individuality, you stand in your own lane, and you encourage other people to continue to drive the same way. That's it. It's that simple. We are equipped and wired in a life of service. And how am I using all of these gifts that I've been given to be something desirable? You see, I want to be desirable in the aspect where approachable, kind, patient, all of those wonderful things. People see it immediately. Either they appreciate it or they're intimidated by it because they're not allowing themselves to be open to that type of energy, shall I say, in interacting with other persons and other artists, other musicians, other writers. Young lady she's on her seventh book, and she sat in one of the seminars, and they were like, what is she doing here? And I was like, I'm saying the same thing. Like, what is she doing here? you
Right.
know and I was shocked myself. So it happens. And she said, well, I didn't understand this part, so I knew that this, that you were offering this, and I just wanted to hone in on this for my next project. And I'm like, wow. you know that's ultimate humility for me. this novelist. She has 7 books. Well, she has 6, and 3 of the 6 are sagas. So they
Oh
continue
wow.
from one books to the next. And so I'm just like, wowzers, like that blew
Right.
my mind. But I'm not out here, on Facebook, Instagram, like this person sat in my class or this person sat in my class. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This was
Right. Right.
couple years ago. She's on her 12th book now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then now she's going into children's stories. So she's
Mm.
established
Okay.
author that sat in my class and I that sat in the seminar. And to this day, I'm still humbled by that. So it's not you know, a derogatory thing to just want to learn a few things. And a lot of people in this business don't want to develop humility so that someone can share something with them. And when they do learn something, you think, I'm like, oh yeah, you was in my class and I taught you that. I didn't teach you anything. I shared something with you and it helped you. You learned something from somebody else because I wasn't the first to ever to share it. You see?
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
that part right there is what a lot of the attendees lack in wanting to come. And a lot of people lack in wanting to accept constructive criticism. Now, you got some critics out there who will deliberately try to dog you, and you have to be
True.
willing to accept that as well. You got a chameleon in a lot of different arenas because people you don't know how certain people are coming and what their agenda is. So you have to be ready for all of those things. What hat am I putting on today? Am I going to wear a hard jacket, hard hat, a raincoat? All of those different things, Pen. It takes on a lot, but humility, you can't stress that enough. You can't stress it enough, Ben. A person who does not have humility will not get people to work with them, collab with them, support their projects, support their venues, none of those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, like with everything that you had just said, I totally agree with you. You know what I mean? Now we're gonna go to this last final question. You know, so what is your end goal into this poetry coaching, and like do you think that the poetry scene, do you think that it can one day be as big um I want to say as like hip hop is? Do you think that
Yes.
do you think that it has the potential to to be as lucrative as well?
Let me Ben, poetry and spoken word is very lucrative. I will
Okay.
tell you that. That's from experience. However, if
Mm-hmm.
your head is not on right as to what it is you want to do with your artistry, it will be less lucrative. You
Okay.
have to have a plan. It's not about EPs and LPs and it's not about that. It's all
Mm-hmm.
about you as a performer, you as a writer. Those are the things that determine how far you can go. We just had a conversation on another beautiful platform, an interview with an artist who just released, and a lot of questions will rise in regards to the awards that poets get. There
Right.
are there are poetry and spoken word awards that are distributed yearly.
Mm-hmm.
There are Emmys that are given to poets.
I've
We
seen
had
that.
an yeah, it goes further than that. The Pulitzer, that is to me above a Grammy, a Emmy, a People Choice, all of those things. It's on a higher level, very lucrative. There are some artists that I've worked with that take nothing less than $500 per performance,
Mm.
and they can do that because of what they bring. It's not about the years of, being in the game or being an artist. It's about the person. How are they
Very good.
as a person? How will the crowd receive them? How do they interact with other persons on the stage? Because we all can share the stage, but
Right.
we all can't get on the stage.
That's true. You ain't lying. That's
You
true.
see, you can't
That's
take
true.
everybody with you, Pen. You can't. You can't
That's
take
true.
everybody.
That's very true. And I want to comment on this last question too. That I remember this one poet who I follow on Instagram. I've been following him ever since I heard him on Kanye West's first album. That he won, I think, was a Grammy. You know, his name is J. Ivy,
Oh
and
yeah.
I remember seeing, and I
He,
remember this. I was in shock when I first saw that. You know what I mean? And like only because how many years he's been doing this. You know what I mean? Like he's from my like hometown, Chicago, Illinois, and I remember just seeing him perform all those years, and to see him like what was it? Yeah, last year, getting a Grammy for his work. I mean, like I was proud. I was proud to see it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So there, and you're right. There are words out there. There's a. I mean, I'm seeing that the poetry scene is getting a little bit bigger. It's getting a little bit of notoriety. You know, it's just that it's not at the level where different genres of music are yet. As far as
Yeah.
like, as far as like the exposure, and the other things that come with it. You know what I mean? It's like if I was to say, do you know who if I give you a first person name, in the hip hop scene, about 95%, sorry, 99% of people would know it. But if I tell you
Yeah.
someone from the poetry scene's name, not too many people would know.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
right, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You have to think about, even if they like, I love that point that you were making. If they haven't been seen or they have been seen, there was a young lady, just a quick side note on that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Kelly Mays. She's from Detroit, and
Mm-hmm.
her poet name is Native Child. She
Okay.
won the Sasha Award. A lot of people never heard of the Sasha Awards with poets. There are
Right.
so many levels to it. She was that type of person, and unfortunately, she lost her life. She was an advocate for a particular cause, and then she became a victim to the cause that she was so adamant about.
Oh wow,
And
man.
she
Mm.
was she was an amazing artist. And a lot of people didn't know the body of work and the extent of what she was doing
Right.
until this incident. They're like, what? She won a Sasha Award? She won this award? She won that one? And the reason why is because of the humility that she had.
Right.
I've been in the room with her, mega talent, mega talent. She's performed literally all over the world. Now, that
Mm.
resume, would love to have one like that. However, when you get into those type of positions, you got to be ready for whatever come again.
That
And
is
but
true.
that but Native Child, Miss Kelly May, shout out still to her family, her daughter,
Mm.
her granddaughter, and her
Definitely.
mom. I've met them and shared the room with them on many occasions. But
Mm.
just she was just a beautiful person. And no one knew the full extent of the body of work that she had done.
Wow, man. Sad to hear. You know what I mean? But But on a positive note, CoCo, I think I definitely want to thank you for coming on to the show, give us insight on your portrait coaching, and from another artist to another. I really do hope this goes well with you. I wish you make success. Now, for those who may be interested in being coached by you, where can they, where can they locate you at, and how can they get in touch with you?
I'm on Instagram. My IG is CoCo Weaponry. I'm also, in the 313, and very eggshell walker in the poetry world, because I only perform on certain stages, not in a bad way. Because shout out to everybody in the D poetry, in the park, all of those wonderful places. I love y'all. And yeah, reach out to me on IG, follow me. I'm gonna follow you back, and I interact. I really talk
Definitely
on
does.
people's pages.
Definitely does.
I really do, and this is such a beautiful platform that you have, Pen. I'm a fan for real. I watch your work. We've done a collaboration, which was absolutely amazing.
Well,
And
definitely.
I'm looking forward to another collaboration with you. I got some things that are in the work, and I have another major event that's coming. I have two major events coming up. I have another show in Ohio, and then I have another show in Detroit in August. And I really, you know, trying to, butter you up, have you come and grace the stage on one of them cities, sir.
Guys, appreciate you. Appreciate you. I'm looking forward to it. You know what I mean? Definitely would love to work with you again and to like be on and to share a stage with you in person. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely looking forward to it. You know what I mean?
Definitely, sir. Definitely. I appreciate everything you're doing, and it's an honor for me to be here. And I appreciate this platform that you are allowing these artists to come in and really have these one-on-one conversations. It means a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the artists that have come on this platform thus far. I definitely appreciate y'all, man. Most definitely. You know, but we're about to get up out of here. Definitely shout out to CoCo once again for coming to the show. And we will see y'all next month on the next podcast episode of Vibes at the Table podcast. See y'all.